Hey guys, this is Kangas. Here to do my gratitude garden. So it's been a little while as we've transitioned to 4 days a week, and had a couple other issues going on at school mixed with my I had a surgery a couple weeks ago that put me out for a while. Um, but I just as we head into vacation here, we've been at 4 days a week now for 2 to 3 weeks. I believe it's 2 weeks maybe. Um, and I gotta just give huge props to everybody. Thank you to our community for being so diligent in checking Parent Square messages and following the pickup drop off procedures. That's made a huge difference because that was a huge, big concern of ours, and we can tell definitely if you guys did not adhere to that or follow that, like we would have definitely had some serious traffic issues on our hands. So thank you for keeping pickup and drop off safe and orderly. It's gone so much smoother than we could have ever anticipated. Um, and the staff haven't missed a beat. Teachers, ed techs, lunch, everyone, custodians. They just keep on doing what they do. And now we have kids back 4 days a week, and I got to tell you that part feels really good. Having that consistency, because I know the hybrid days when the kids were home, the education quality was not nearly as good as when they were here at school. And I know it was difficult on parents. And we really appreciate everything everyone did to step up and take on those extra responsibilities. That it was huge in allowing us to ease our way back into this. Um, and like I said before, when we were having the discussion of what do we do? Do we stay hybrid? Do we come back 4 days? I mentioned a couple times during those discussions about how we didn't think hybrid was going to go off nearly as well as it did, and so maybe 4 days a week will surprise us, and I think it is. It's going very smoothly. Um, and not to jinx anything, but we haven't had any cases of COVID come in. Actually, that has seemed to have slowed down a bit. Um, so we'll see what happens when and if that does happen. I know the vaccine's being rolled out, and so maybe that will play a role in diminishing the likelihood that we see another case. Um, and staff are taking necessary precautions. I've been in several classrooms, and it feels good. It looks good. They're making it work. Um, so it just, yeah, I'm overwhelmed and excited um, that we're starting to make steps towards some semblance of normalcy. This is one step closer. As long as this goes well, this brings us one step closer to where we ultimately would like to get. I think everybody would like to get. I'll be very interested to see how things pan out over the summer and looking towards next fall. Um, and everybody has been super. When I was out for a week um, because I had surgery and I had to spend a lot of time recovering. Um, and I gotta tell you, like everybody. This was the week before we went 4 days a week, and people were just phenomenal. Everyone stepped up. You know, um, Ms. LaPerriere and our secretaries really held down the fort, did an awesome job. Covering things and staying on top of things and communicating. Um, and I love the creativity too that we've been seeing from the staff and their willingness to think outside the box. It's something we've really been pushing, trying to figure out. There have been a lot of preliminary discussions as we have been. When we have had time, as with the team leaders, we've been trying to think about mission, vision, values for the school and we're really exploring the question of what is education for? What is the purpose of school? Because it's become clear over time as I've been at this now 14, 15 years in terms of education, administration for about 8 now. Um, and the longer I do this, the more and more it becomes apparent that what I was raised to, and grew up believing school was for, doesn't really seem to, it doesn't pass the eyeball test. It just doesn't seem to hold water. Which, was this idea that school prepared you for work, school prepared you for the real world. Um, and as I've gotten older, there are many kids who, I went to school with who weren't kids that enjoyed school. They weren't kids that worked hard in school. They weren't, and not because they don't have good work ethics, but school just did not jive with them, didn't connect with them, didn't engage them. There were things that were off-putting about it and frustrating and demoralizing. Yet, as adults, they are hardworking individuals who support awesome families and they're awesome parents and they're great people and they live very happy and successful lives regardless of the fact that their school career would have suggested otherwise based on what I was told as a kid. So school clearly is not here to determine whether or not a student does well in life, whether or not a student can find happiness and success. Some of the most famous and wealthy people, in the world, and some of the smartest people in the world have been people who didn't do well in school. Albert Einstein's notorious for being a CD student. Mark Zuckerberg was not an academic scholar by any means, yet here he is, having developed the most popular, social media platform in existence today that's now a global sensation. These things are pretty common. Some of the people I went to school with, I was, because of what was preached to me as a kid, I took that very seriously, and so I was a bookworm, and I was obsessed with my grades, obsessed with my academics, and the kids who weren't, I can tell you right now, school does not dictate intelligence. There are so many different types of jobs nowadays, and so many different types of intelligences, like the intelligence it takes to be a carpenter versus a musician versus an architect versus a doctor versus an engineer. They require totally different types of intelligences, and there's a reason why we have specialized fields, because no one person can be everything, and nor should we expect any one person to be everything. We have mechanics for a reason. Not everyone is going to and is capable of being fluent enough to diagnose issues with their cars and fix them on their own. We have doctors for a reason, because not all of us are going to be fluent in and excel in our ability to assess and diagnose complex medical issues. Like, that's just reality. There's too much information, too much knowledge in the world for it all to be encompassed in one person. The reason why human beings are so successful is because because we specialize, and then we also work together collectively. Um, so we have shared knowledge, so to speak. So the real question is, as I drone on here, is what is school for? And so we've really been exploring that and exploring this idea that we really got to think outside the box on this. And I'll talk more about what we're talking about in regards to what we feel school is for. But throughout this year, we've had a lot of people really thinking about how can we do things differently? What are some new activities I can engage in? What's a new way of approaching teaching and learning? What are some things that maybe before I didn't feel comfortable or didn't feel like I was allowed to do that maybe are worth trying now? Maybe I didn't think I had time to do that I'm going to make time for now. And I think those are all important discussions that will only benefit the kids in the end. And I love the shift that was kind of forced upon us with the specials. The now kids are getting specials 4 days a week. They're getting and so the specialists for the first time in their career are getting kids multiple times a week instead of once a week. And so they're really getting to know the kids, and kids are retaining things, between classes. And so they're really able to just do so much more. And it's awesome when kids have, when they're specialist PE, because they're getting outside and basically having a second, recess-like opportunity. And I feel bad. PE has not had a gym all year, and Mr. Noel has really stepped up, and he's really trying to be creative and offer these kids some interesting and fun ways. I mean, he's outside all day, and especially this time of year, that is not fun. Miss Priestley has been, leveraging the 3D printer in some really cool ways, and I know that she's like playing around with ideas with that around what she can do with the kids. Mr. Boyd, really came in this year and has just filled a much needed gap in our music program. You never would have known that. He's new to the school. He's really just kind of assimilated himself right into our community and our culture very well. It's been really nice having him on board. So just, as always, I love this school. I love this community. I love where we work. And I love where we're headed. And I love the conversations, we're having. So thank you to everybody. We couldn't do this without you. And thank you for everybody who's been taking the time to fill out the surveys so that we can get an idea of what the community wants. And, we want to honor that. And so that's why we made that decision to go 4 days a week, for February, and because that really came through in the survey as kind of where the community was starting to lean, whereas in the fall that was not the case. So thank you everyone for having, for voicing yourselves, and for, we're never going to please everyone with every decision, but we do our best to try and listen and take all feedback into consideration. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I hope next week you have a much needed and enjoyable vacation. Thank you.